Good afternoon and welcome. It's 2 p.m. here in Central African Time Zone. It is 3 p.m. in Eastern Africa and 1 p.m. in West Africa. Wherever you're joining us from, thank you for tuning in to Market View. Today, we are diving into some key updates. First up, we have insights from Tom DuPont, who is the president of FESBIC. He wants to highlight the critical need to educate members about the opportunities within the African Continental Free Trade Area. DuPont stresses collaboration as pivotal for SMEs aiming to tap into larger markets. We'll bring you the full scoop on this shortly. Also on the agenda today, we'll analyze the latest global market movements. The Nasdaq Composite surged, pointing to robust tech sector performance, while the FTSE 100 showed healthy gains, only reflecting positive investor sentiment in the United Kingdom. Across Asia, the Nikkei in Japan saw significant gains as well, signaling optimism in their market outlook. Now in Africa, closer to home, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange All-Share Index soared, underscoring strong performance in South Africa's market. Stay tuned as we break down these updates with our economist Sanele Sibiya, who is going to provide expert insights into what these shifts mean for our economies here and abroad. Let's go for a net break. After the break, we'll look into business news of the day.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 762222000 or dial *007 *3 *7 hash, or you can use Eswatini Imali. And you can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any NetBank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
Welcome back to the program. Thank you for staying with us. And now for our business news, let's look into our first story coming from the Commerce Ministry, where the Honorable Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade, Honorable Mangoba Khumalo, has outlined different initiatives that government is considering to boost the country's economy, which include manufacturing of raw materials locally, as well as opening a textile industrial park, amongst others. The Honorable Minister was speaking during the World Bank and Business Eswatini Economic Memorandum in search of the drivers of Inclusive Growth Report private sector engagement meeting at Hilton Garden Inn in Babane.
We are seeing a lot of faith in this economy by foreign direct investments that are trickling into the country at a rate that we remain constructively discontent about, but at the same time quite encouraged about. We continue to see local participation of our financial institutions and non-banking institutions that are in the lending space. That says the economy is, a place to invest in. We position ourselves as an export-led economy. an economy that looks at Eswatini as a production center for the region. We have the likes of Coca-Cola concentrate manufacturing that is supplied to about 26 countries across the continent. We have the likes of Mondelez, previously Cadbury, that is growing in leaps and bounds. They've just reinvested heavily these last 2 years. We are working with the Minister for Agriculture to facilitate the doubling of investment by Kellogg's in Eswatini. They have formally expressed that in 2025 they want to double their production in Eswatini. We have the Rhodes Food Group, which is a fruit canning operation. They make juices, they make jams, etc., and they supply to the likes of Tesco, Marks and Spencer, and all other entities in Europe and the US, and they are growing phenomenally. We have the likes of oil milling companies for cooking oil that are now backward integrating and looking to grow soybeans in the country.
Besides making changes in policy, the World Bank has identified 5 key areas of action which government needs to focus on for a productivity-led economic growth. These areas, according to the World Bank lead economist Jacques Morisset, include developing a skilled and healthy labor force, as well as improving access to finance.
The message is you need a little bit of everything, particularly more investment in physical capital, better human capital, and productivity. So how can you achieve it? And we came up with 5 priorities. A little bit generic, but still it's already a selection. You need to have a dynamic private sectors, and I think you can do more to advertise and market your success because you have success stories. You know, not every country in the world are able to keep Coca-Cola and bring. I think, but it's also small and medium enterprises. Actually, if you're looking at the entry-exit of firms in Eswatini, it's quite slow. It's not very dynamic. It illustrates that it's costly to create firms, and maybe they're not getting the support to be created. So that's the first issue, and they need to be innovative. If you want a dynamic private sector, you need skills, and that's the second priority. The third one is about the capital market and financial sectors. Everything is linked, as you can see. The fourth one is connectivity, very important because you are a small economy. I'm speaking about physical and digital connectivity, but I guess it's quite obvious. And the last one, you need an efficient public sectors just to provide the basis for the expansion of the private sector, but as well, and it was a question raised by you, to ensure distribution and the reduction of inequalities. So that's the 5 priorities.
For us as the World Bank Group, what do we bring to the table? Of course, we bring knowledge. IFC has done in some of the country private sector diagnostics that has looked at certain very specific sectors. We also bring technical assistance, as was mentioned. And then we bring specific investments that allow the enabling the government wants to do, as I heard you say, Honorable Minister. So investments in energy to continue to help you get to even 100%, to achieve some of your energy security objectives, to green your energy transition or your energy mix. Critical sectors such as the ICT sector, which is super important for enabling this takeoff that you're talking about, water, and so on and so forth. And then we bring investments as well in your human capital, which is super important. You know, you need the trained labor force, the skills.
Yeah, let's go for a net break. When we return, the Federation of the FESBIC, we hear a candid update from their president, Mr. Tam Dupont, on what they are doing to help small and medium enterprises locally. ujala masoda mahle kunathi lesa
sabadandi ukuthi njengalokhu
sivile sive sikhulume.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's continue with the program. We look into this very, very interesting and exciting update from the Federation of Eswatini Business Community, which is planning to increase its reach in the different regions in order to help more small and medium enterprises. The president, Tom DuPont, said this when giving an update on what the Federation is doing to help small and medium enterprises to thrive.
I am holding the office of the president of the Federation of Eswatini Business Community, which derived from an association called ESBIC, Association of Eswatini Business Community. But what transpired there, government advised us as an association that they do not have the hands to reach to all the associations. Governments work through federations. They work through federations, which federations then affiliate to the International Labour Organization, ILO, which is a governing body which assists in governing tripartites, workers, employers, and governments. So we went through that. There was a labor commissioner assisted us as a federation to draft our constitution, because you can't just work in the bush. He spent time with us because we were very new. We are represented regionally, the 4 regions of the country. We are represented there. We have a national executive, which forms a board, and then we have regional committees. And the different sectors of business are represented there. You name it, agriculture, retail, livestock. We have tried to pick all of them to be represented, and we find Maswati who are in that business, who are in that industry, to rope them in the business. We have done our best to make a Maswati aware that you have to be organized to run a business. We approached the Prime Minister then, Cleopas, who was heading government as chair. I said, Prime Minister, we cannot stay at home. The country can't live like this. He managed to convince his cabinet, who were given the chance to host a trade fair here in Stokoto, which is an annual event now. Because we wanted to give the people hope that there is still a life. Because COVID came and said, and we sent the workers home. We took the staff out, some of us, and made them work alternative days. Because you can't say a person must stay home, and they've got families, they've got babies. We had a Vusumno to try and get people to say, let's revive the economy. Because we don't know whether COVID is there to stay or it was there for forever. But fortunately, it subsided. COVID, it lasts like something like very effective 2.5 years, but 3 years. Nothing happened. Some of us were in office because you couldn't do anything. You couldn't have ATMs. People had no money to subscribe to the federation, and people volunteered. Ms. Tanya 5 actually came in as a volunteer that first week because there's another issue of Eswatini. They like services, but they forget that you need to pay for services. What happens at First Week? We do things voluntarily. Tanya she really overperformed herself. She was everything. We sent her all over. Even at ILO, she's well known for her commitment. So when the issue of SACCO came up and the country had to formalize that office, our office found it proper that she needed to be elevated there because she knows the ins and outs of First Week. And the changes, we are filling in gaps that needed to be filled in long time. You can't have an office that is run by Tam to Pont. It gets embarrassing. Hey, that office is up. It's not my office. It's the People's Federation. But that's what we're trying to close the gaps now. And sometimes, unfortunately, you find that some of us were too comfortable in the position. When you put in someone else next to you, say, he, so yeah, Peter. Well, some will feel uncomfortable, but we have to follow the constitution and fill in those gaps. That's what we are doing, Maga, and we are not stopping now. The new CEO is Ben Simelane, formerly CEO at the RFM hospital in Mzini, the hub of Eswatini. No magic will happen in any country. The citizens of the country must be the ones that must be seen to be doing something. And then the foreign direct investment must find you people organized. So that's what we are doing. There are forums, and the Minister of Commerce now is sort of doing its best to try and assist in collaborating with other structures, that SMEs are respected.
Well, the President also highlighted that their members will be well sensitized about the opportunities presented by the African Continental Free Trade Area. The President says working together is key if small and medium enterprises are to succeed in supplying big markets.
These opportunities, they've been there, maybe not that much. They've been there. Reason being why we missed out. We are not organized ourselves. It might be a sensitive one, it might be a cultural issue. We don't appreciate working together. And I wouldn't like him also to take it wrong. We don't appreciate working together, and this is a big problem. From all departments, we believe in isolation. That is why you need entrepreneurship, you need to take it down to the counters. We grab things on the top. This is a problem. The opportunities are there. We are saying, First Week, we are strengthening now our regions to tell them all about this and present them. Let the ministries go there. Tell them why do it. Why do things in a group.
All right, that's it for that segment. Let's go for a net break. We look at today's financial rates after the break with economist Sanele Sibia.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 76222000 or dial *007 *3 *7#, or you can use Eswatini Imali. You can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any any Nedbank branch using our TV license account number 1199004337. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
Welcome back to the program. Let's dive into our financials rates of the day with our economist, Sanele Sibia. Welcome back. It's time to really look into these markets. In the U.S., we saw that the Nasdaq Composite has surged by 159.54 points, signaling, of course, strong performance in technology stocks. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 has also showed some gains, reflecting maybe broader market positivity, despite a slight dip in the DGIA. Well, let's also delve into the indices across Europe, Asia, as well as closer to home, Mr. Sibia, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, as well as the Eswatini markets, where the Eswatini Stock Exchange, from the numbers that you sent, it seems to show that it remains unchanged. But let's delve into these numbers right now. What is your sense of what is happening in the U.S. markets right now?
Good afternoon, Mr. Nimolo, and thank you for having me. Thank you to the viewer. So what we are seeing in the US, the numbers are positing a positive, overall, because even when you look at the Dow Jones Industrial, it might have taken a bit of a knock towards the end of the trading session yesterday, but still it remains above the highs, and now it's actually approaching the 40,000 mark. So that overall, what we are looking at into the markets is overall positivity. Certainly this positivity emanates from bad news, that we saw coming out of the US. We've seen new jobs below the expected 165. We've seen minor increases in jobless claims, and we've seen a weaker services industry and a weaker performance, coming through the PMA data that we were waiting for, the purchasing managers data that we're waiting for. So all those are signs of a weaker economy. But Wall Street is taking that in strides, in the sense that a weaker economy will somehow prompt the Federal Reserve Bank to start cutting interest rates quicker than one would have expected, because one of the issues that we were worried about when we went into this overdrive normalization was the fact that too much hikes in the interest rates are actually going to hamper economic activity and result into a recession. So these weaker figures are now, markets believe are going to force the bank to start cutting those interest rates. So that's what we are seeing happening in the US, Mr. Numaro. And then in Europe, when we get to Europe, what we are seeing there is Europe is somehow also taking this bad news in good light from the US, and also at the same time we are seeing the voting happening in terms of the UK is voting today, but it's not a bank holiday, and France also is also in that type of conundrum of an election. But overall, what we are seeing happening in this market is in the UK, the Labour is expected to take in office, and the policies they've been presenting are pro-markets, and so markets are still very much looking forward into that new government. And as well, we've seen France holding fort, and Germany also holding fort a bit. But what is interesting coming out of Europe, which is now going to trickle into what is happening in China or in the Asia region, is the fact that the European Parliament has actually agreed and endorsed a 37% tariff on Chinese imported electronic vehicles. So what that means is what we are seeing when we are moving into China, you will see that Shanghai is actually lagging behind, but because of this pressure that is coming with these new increased tariffs coming out of the Euro region. So what we are hoping to see is probably in the next so many months, when stock that they have in place today before Friday, because these tariffs are going to come into play on Friday. When they eventually get sold out, we are then going to see how China is going to react to this. We are not yet sure whether China is going to take a retaliatory stance, or they are going to be more progressive about it and find market-friendly approaches and make concessions here and there to ensure that they are able to continue supplying the European markets with those electronic vehicles. So that's what we are seeing when we move into the Asian markets. We are seeing that the Shanghai Composite is still below the 3,000 mark, and has taken a few of those hits because, we were hoping that the Europeans were not going to confirm this move, but it seems it has been confirmed. Remember, we spoke of this move way back in, I think it must have been Aprilish. Or March of this year. That's when these tariffs were purported to come in, but now it's official, they're coming in tomorrow. And then when we're looking into so when we're looking into Japan again, we are seeing those positive movements purely because of the weaker yen, making Japanese stocks relatively cheaper compared to quite a number of those Asian stocks there. And also when you're looking at the positive micro nitty-gritties within Japan, those are the ones that are pushing the markets towards that positive stance in terms of, we've got strong performing markets internally in Japan, albeit the fact that, generally the yen is weakening, and, markets are still positive of the fact that we are still into the very first 3 months after this change from negative interest rates to positive interest rates within Japan. And we've seen Hong Kong, they're just taking a bit of the losses from Shanghai and, from mainland into Hong Kong, where we're looking for more of a liberal market, which might not necessarily be affected by those tariffs. And then when we are coming into Johannesburg, what we are seeing there in Johannesburg is the fact that markets are also taking the bad news from the US in better strides, and also you are coupling that with what is happening in terms of the government of national unity. Again, that's what we are seeing happening and moving the markets in that front. So the Johannesburg Stock Exchange has actually now broken the 81,000 mark. So basically here at home, what we are seeing again is, I do believe the fact that what makes the stock market not very much active in Eswatini is the fact that we do not have an automated trading system. So it's more a manual system. So it doesn't really have that much penetration to attract a lot of traders to trade it. Also, what we have is your typical dividend investor. You don't have a you don't have an investor who invests just to have the money grow and just make a bit of profits out of the value of the share, Mr. Nzimana.
Just uniquely from every, country or say continent that you have really deciphered the indices, I'm picking that most of what you are assessing is from local economic policies, if you will, Mr. Sibiya. But also, I'm also picking that there are external factors in relation with every continent. As you have said, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange being affected by the US market and the Asian markets being affected by the European markets. But I'm not really getting any sense of whether any geopolitical issues are affecting any of these indices, in the midst of the geopolitical issues happening around the world. Just briefly, I have to close the show now, I'm afraid.
All right, thank you. So in terms of there isn't nothing major happening on the geopolitical landscape, nothing new actually that might actually move markets. So what is moving markets mostly today in today's trading session is the bad news happening in the US. So that has trickled across the globe. So markets have taken a weaker economy in a positive stride, in that eventually it will push the Federal Reserve Bank to start cutting interest rates. And if we look into how that has played out, we have seen it play out also in the commodities and the currencies, you know, the way currencies are trading. So I think maybe we leave it there for today, Mr. Newman.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid we can't get into commodities like that, but here are the numbers. Thank you so much for providing these numbers. We are seeing minor declines against the Swazi Lilangeni. Unfortunately, because of time, we have to close the show now, but thank you so much for your insights, Mr. Sibia. Thank you to the viewer, most importantly, for staying with us throughout the program. Have a good day.